There are certain bands that become successful, and then there are bands that become part of your soul. Badlands was one of those bands for me. And back in the late 80s, there was a sound coming out of Los Angeles that was larger than life. Bigger hair, bigger stages, bigger egos, and everybody was chasing hits, and everybody was chasing MTV. But then along came Badlands, and suddenly it wasn't about image anymore. It was about feel, it was about soul, and it was about four musicians sounding like they were plugged directly into something dangerous, emotional, bluesy, raw, and completely alive. Jake, if by some miracle you ever see this, I just want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you for having the courage to follow your own musical heart. Because Badlands didn't sound like everybody else. Yeah, you could hear the history in it, the blues, the pain, the fire, the groove. And you could hear a guitar player refusing to become a clone of what the industry wanted him to be. And man, that tone. To this day, guitar players still chase it. Not because of the gear and not because of the amp. Because tone like that comes from the hands and from the heart. And then there was Ray Gillen. What a voice. Not polished, not manufactured, not auto-tuned into perfection. Real, human, powerful enough to shake the walls, and vulnerable enough to break your heart at the same time. And maybe that's why Badlands still matters all these years later, because it was honest and there was truth in that music. And you could feel it in every bend, every scream, every groove, and every lyric. And now, here we are in 2026, a younger generation discovering this music for the first time. Musicians still studying it, still inspired by it, still emotionally moved by it. That's mortality. Not charts, not algorithms, not trends. Impact. And lately, I've been listening to Dino Jelusick singing some of the material like the last time. And something hit me hard emotionally. Not because anybody could ever replace Ray Gillen. No, nobody can do that. But because hearing someone brave enough to step into that territory reminded me just how special Badlands really was. It reminded me how timeless great music becomes. And it reminded me why many of us fell in love with rock and roll in the first place. Not for perfection, but for passion and for soul and for those moments where music reaches inside your chest and grabs hold of something words can't explain. That's what Badlands did. And Jake, you created something that still echoes decades later. There are kids out there today who weren't even born when these records came out, and they still stop in their tracks when they hear that sound. That means something. So this isn't just a reaction video. This is a thank you letter. From one lifelong music lover to one of the most underrated guitar players that ever picked up the instrument. Thank you for the music. Thank you for the inspiration. And thank you for reminding us that rock and roll was never about perfection. It was about truth. So Jake, again, if by some act of God, an accidental click on YouTube or maybe a friend sends this video your way, I just want you to know this video is dedicated to you, to Ray, to Greg, and to Eric. Badlands, one of the greatest rock bands to ever walk this earth. And in this video, you're also going to hear something that honestly gave me chills the first time I heard it. The astounding possibility of what Dino Jelusick might sound like singing with Badlands. Now let me make this crystal clear. Nobody replaces Ray Gillen. Nobody. And I don't think any true Badlands fan ever would want that. Ray was one of a kind, a once-in-a-generation voice, a soul that can never be duplicated or replaced. But what Dino does have is the power, the passion, and definitely the spirit to carry forward the emotional weight of this music in a way that very few singers alive today possibly could. Not filling Ray's shoes, but honoring the path he created. Because these songs deserve to live on. They deserve to be heard by younger generations. They deserve to shake arenas again. They deserve to move people emotionally the same way they moved us decades ago. And honestly, I feel like there's unfinished business with Badlands. I never got the opportunity to see Badlands with Ray live, and that's something I'll always regret. But I was fortunate enough to see you, Jake, with Ozzy Osbourne on the Ultimate Sin Tour. And years later, I saw Red Dragon Cartel at Rocklahoma in 2015 when my own band was playing one of the other stages. So speaking not just as a fan, but as a lifelong guitar player, Jake, your music mattered to us. It still matters. And I truly hope that one day I'll open social media or YouTube and see these words: Badlands returns. Because I can promise you this, there are a whole lot of us out there who would give anything to hear these songs come alive just one more time. And to you, Dino, if you ever happen to see this, thank you for having the courage, even the balls, to even step into this kind of material. Most singers wouldn't dare touch songs connected to a voice as legendary as Ray Gillen. But what I hear in your voice, it is an imitation. I hear respect, I hear passion, and I hear somebody who understands that this kind of music came from a real place emotionally. So whether anything ever happens with Badlands or not, thank you for reminding a whole lot of us why we fell in love with this music in the first place. You gave many of us a glimpse, just for a small moment, of what it might feel like to hear the Spirit come alive again. To understand why Badlands was so special, you have to go back to the late 1980s. At that time, hard rock was everywhere. MTV was dominated by big hair, flashy videos, and larger-than-life personalities. Bands were competing to be bigger, louder, and more outrageous than the next guy. And while many of those bands produced great music, Badlands felt different. They weren't glam metal. They weren't chasing trends. And they certainly weren't trying to fit neatly into what the music industry expected at the time. Badlands was pure, unadulterated hard rock rooted in the blues. There was a rawness to the band, a danger, a soulfulness that felt more connected to the great rock bands of the 1970s than the polished sound dominating the charts in the late 1980s. The lineup itself was remarkable. On guitar was Jakey Lee. He was fresh out of his years with Ozzy Osbourne on the Ultimate Sin Tour, bringing one of the most expressive and distinctive guitar tones in rock music. On vocals was Ray Gillen, of course, a singer whose voice combined power, emotion, blues, and soul in a way that few rock vocalists have ever achieved. And holding down the groove was bassist Gregg Chaisson, whose playing gave the band a solid foundation while allowing the music itself room to breathe. And behind the drums was Eric Singer, you know him from Kiss, whose powerful, dynamic style helped drive the songs without ever overpowering them. Together, these four musicians created something unique. And nowhere is that more evident than on the song The Last Time. For me, this isn't just one of the great Badlands songs. It's one of the great hard rock songs of the era. What makes it so special is the performance of Ray Gillen. Listen closely, and you'll hear a singer who isn't simply hitting notes. He's telling a story. Ray lives in that upper register throughout much of the song, yet never sounds forced. His phrasing is deliberate, his vibrato is expressive, and every note feels emotional and intentional. You can hear the blues, you can hear the soul, and you can hear a vocalist pouring every ounce of himself into that performance. So The Last Time isn't just a great song. It's a masterclass in emotional rock singing. And decades later, well, it remains one of the finest examples of what made Ray Gillen such a remarkable and unforgettable voice. Before we talk about Ray Gillen's voice, we need to talk about the man who created the landscape that voice lived in. Jakey Lee has always been one of those guitar players who was impossible to mistake for anyone else. In an era filled with incredible players, Jakey Lee didn't sound like Eddie Van Halen. He didn't sound like Randy Rhoads, and he didn't sound like George Lynch. He sounded like Jakey Lee. There was something uniquely expressive about his playing. His bends, his vibrato, his phrasing, every note felt intentional. And Jake never seemed interested in playing the most notes. He was interested in playing the right notes. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the song The Last Time. The opening guitar work, it creates a mood almost immediately. There's a bluesy tension in it, a sense of anticipation. It feels emotional before a single lyric is ever sung. And that's one of Jake's greatest gifts as a songwriter and guitarist. He creates a musical landscape that allows a song to breathe, a landscape where melody matters. Now, what I want to do is I want to take a listen to a little bit of The Last Time, and we're going to isolate some of Jake's tracks so you can see just how intentional, how his phrasing sounds like, how his vibrato sounds like, his pick attack, and we'll comment as we go along. So here's The Last Time. Listen how intentional his pick attack is. Of course, there's Ray Gillen's powerful voice. Let's solo Jakey Lee's guitar playing. Listen to that pick attack. The whole song just completely fits around Ray Gillen's voice. It just is amazing. If Jakey Lee provided the landscape for Badlands, Ray Gillen was the voice that brought it to life. Before joining Badlands, Ray spent time with Black Sabbath, stepping into one of the most difficult jobs in rock music, following legendary singers and making those songs his own. But it was with Badlands that Ray truly found his artistic home. What made Ray Gillen special wasn't just his range. A lot of singers can hit high notes. What made Ray special was his soul. He could sing with incredible power, yet never lose the emotion behind the lyric. He could move effortlessly between hard rock blues, rhythm and blues influences, and creating a sound that was uniquely his own. When you listen to Ray sing, you don't hear a vocalist trying to impress you. You hear a man telling a story. And nowhere is that more apparent than in the song The Last Time. The passion, the phrasing, the conviction, every note feels intentional. Every phrase feels lived. For many fans, Ray Gillen wasn't just one of the great rock singers of the late 1980s. He was one of the most soulful and emotionally expressive voices the genre has ever produced. So let's listen to what made Ray Gillen so extraordinary. Listen to that haunting voice. Every phrase is so bluesy and exact. Now listen to his isolated voice. Just so soulful. All right, now I want to do something, and I hope that people do not get offended by this, because I am not meaning to offend anybody, especially the members of Badlands, Jakey Lee, Gregg Chaisson, Eric Singer, and Jeff Martin. What I am doing is showing what could be. I've said this many times in this video, that there's nobody, and I mean nobody, that can replace Ray Gillen. Ray Gillen, he passed away way too young, and I hated it because Badlands was such an incredible band. And I think the band had actually broken up before Ray passed away. But here's the thing. I still, and I say this out of total respect, that I feel like there's unfinished business with Badlands. And I believe that this young man, Dino Jelusick, could step in and carry on Ray's legacy. Not fill his shoes, not take his place, but carry on the legacy that Ray Gillen left behind. And so I want you to listen to Dino Jelusick in The Last Time with Jakey Lee, Gregg Chaisson, and Eric Singer. And you tell me whether he fits in or not. And leave the comments down below. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Here we go. Listen to his tone. He has some of those same traits that Ray Gillen has. Listen to him isolated.
The last time I said I'm falling in love, girl, it's the last time.
Little background vocals there.
No, yeah.
All right, let's listen to him now with the band again. Now listen to this.
The time of the time, I've been down on my knees, begging like never before.
You see what I mean? This guy is just phenomenal. I just think that he would be a perfect fit with Jakey Lee and Gregg Chaisson and Eric Singer or Jeff Martin. So now what I want to do is I want to go back and I want to compare Ray Gillen and Dino Jelusick. Their styles is what I'm meaning by compare. But Ray Gillen is here, okay? And Dino is right below him. The guy's an incredible singer, and he's young. And I think he's kind of right at that age when Ray Gillen passed away. And so I just want to show you Ray's style and show you Dino's style. That's it. I'm not making a comparison and saying one is better than the other. I think they're both incredible singers. That being said, here we go. This is going to be Ray Gillen. He just has such a haunting voice. All right, now here's Dino. So there's a slight comparison right there. You can see and hear with your own ears that Dino sounds incredibly like Ray Gillen. And I'm not talking about sounds just like him, because we're all unique beings. But what I'm saying is I think he has captured the spirit. He's captured the soul of the music. So I'm going to end the video here. But here's what I want everyone to think about. All of us are getting older. I'm 64. Man, we all know that we only have a few more trips around the sun. You know what I mean? And us boomers and Gen Xers. And so these guys that we loved listening to back in the 70s and 80s, in the early 90s even, you know, those guys came back after the turn of the century and started touring again and everything. But guess what? Those guys are getting older. There's a lot of guys retiring. David Coverdale is no longer touring. He's retired. And in fact, Dino Jelusick actually played keyboards and did backing vocals in Whitesnake for a few years, I think. And Dino, of course, was in Trans-Siberian Orchestra. I think it was for 6 years. Been out of there for a while, kind of doing his own thing. You can go on YouTube and you can go and actually see his band Jelusick. And see, he's got some really cool music out there right now. He's done some stuff with George Lynch. That's been really cool. There's a song out there on YouTube. Look it up. It's called Here Comes the King, I believe it's what it's called. Great, great, great song. And he's done work with a couple other people on some Boston covers. They did Foreplay Long Time. They did Jefferson Starships song Jane, and did an incredible job on it. I think Mike Portnoy played drums on that. Joel Hoekstra played guitar. You're going to find out when you watch enough of these videos. I'm going to have these spaced out moments and everything, because sometimes my memory doesn't serve me too well, and my wife gets on to me about remembering something that happened 50 years ago, but can't remember something she said 5 minutes ago. So I get in trouble when that happens. Anyway, I'm going to end the video. You guys comment below. Tell me what you think. Jake and Dino, if you guys happen to see this video, I just wanted to honor you, especially Jake, for the 2 albums with Badlands. Incredible, incredible songs. And Dino, you know, I don't know if you'd be up to it, but I really hope one day that I open up social media and I find out that this happens. I honestly would cry, because there's a new arena or a amphitheater, I'm not sure which one it is, that's being built right down the road from where I live. And boy, it would not hurt my feelings at all if I woke up one day and there were tickets that went on sale for Badlands, and I would pay just about any amount of money to go and see it, because I regret not being able to see it with Ray, but I'm hoping to see a version of Badlands with Dino. You guys take care. This is Joe Dunnigan with Heroes of Rock. I love y'all. Thanks for coming to the channel. I'm looking to make more and more and more videos. I'm new at this. Y'all give me a little bit of grace. I'm trying to lose some weight here to not look so fat on camera. And also, too, I'm trying to get more experience on camera. I'm doing videos with a almost 10-year-old laptop that you'll notice there's been a couple of camera glitches in the video and everything. I'm just going to leave them in because that's just what I'm dealing with right now. I do have plans on building a pretty high-dollar production desktop computer. I'm kind of waiting for the prices to come down before I start investing in that because honestly, I don't want to spend $5,000 on a desktop when I probably should be spending more like $2,500 to $3,000. So at any rate, you guys have a great day. Check out the other videos. You can also go to my Instagram channel as well. I'll try to remember to put the Instagram and Facebook links in there so you can keep up with the news. Friend me and do all that stuff on social media and everything. Let's talk about nostalgia. Let's talk about music, and let's talk about life. Amen? Hey, you guys have a great evening.